Today we play Bedwars, the game that despite coming out over 5 years ago, still maintains a healthy player base mostly comprising of 8-year-olds with creeper hoodies and actual internet creepers. Let's get started. We spawn at home base. It's not much, but I live in a college dorm, so this is like an NFL stadium to me. Once I have enough iron to buy wool, I quickly forget how to open a chest and then build a small woolen bed defense. Apparently I'm on white team this game, and I'll probably get targeted by the other teams. Not because I'm white, but because I told everyone in the pre-game lobby that pineapple belongs on pizza. I flat bridge out to the diamond gen, grab the diamonds, and really hope that nobody follows me back because I just created a really easy way to get to my base. Luckily, no one follows, and I use the diamonds to buy protection for my armor. I notice that the player next to me hasn't really done much yet, so I head over to try and take out what I think is an absolute noob. He starts the fight by not noticing that I'm there until I'm already slicing him up like salami, then proceeds to throw 2 fireballs, which I respond to by finishing him off and breaking his bed. I then run over to the side of his base and wait for him to respawn. Unfortunately, another player has decided to join the fight, and by the way he's showing off his speed bridging, his life most likely consists of only school, bed wars, and sleep. This can and will be my excuse for whenever I lose a PvP battle from now on. I respawn back at my base, where I have now acquired enough gold to buy iron armor. This should make up for my lack of skill when it comes to fighting players that aren't 6-year-olds learning how to use the computer. Anyway, I head back over to the base next to me because for some reason the green guy that just killed me didn't finish him off. I don't find him, which causes me to realize that he probably snuck over to my base when I wasn't paying attention, and sure enough, as I start making my way back, I see him walking over to my bed. However, once he sees me, he runs up to the top of my base where I assume he was hiding to begin with. I follow him up to the top of my base, but instead of fighting me at full health, he chooses to pull an emo and jumps off. He loses most of his health, so I climb back down and finish him off relatively easily. This is fantastic, but he falls in the void, which is disappointing because I wanted to check his wrists for a barcode. I decide that it's time to visit the diamond generator again, and luckily there are 4 diamonds waiting for me. Choosing between upgrading sharpness or prot 2 was a difficult one, but I eventually decide on sharpness because my health teacher always said that 2 levels of prot are worse than 1. I don't know if she was talking about Minecraft, but I'm not taking any chances. Anyway, I start breaking the rest of Aqua Team's bed defense to take back to my base. The goal here is to replace his bed defense with white wool and my bed defense with aqua wool so the other players will go to the wrong base to break my bed. Unfortunately, I'm not as slick as I think I am because as I bridge to mid, the green player from earlier knocks me off, and once I spawn back in, it takes him about 2 seconds to realize what I did. He then proceeds to absolutely clown me by fireball jumping over my head, fireballing me off the bridge as I chase after him, and break my bed before I hit the void. The next game, we spawn in a little cave that, despite being in the middle of a frozen landscape, is surprisingly well decorated. I build a wool bed defense and buy prot 1, then decide to attack the yellow player next to me, but not because he's yellow or anything. I get to his base, but unfortunately he has a bed defense larger than the women I sit next to on planes, and he attacks me before I can finish breaking it. Luckily, I overpower him, but a green guy comes over with an iron sword and shreds me like a grilled cheese sandwich in a paper shredder. Now, you probably think that makes no sense. Anyway, upon respawning, I head back over to yellow base to break the bed, and just like a teenage TikTok star's father figure, the yellow guy isn't there. I break the bed and decide to test my luck by scouting out the next base, where I see the green guy being chased by the yellow guy on a bridge. Naturally, I block them off and watch the two fight it out as if I were Michael Vick. However, like Michael Vick, I too must suffer the consequences of my actions and am quickly killed by the winner. I need to take out this yellow guy before it's too late, so I buy an iron sword from the shop only to get absolutely obliterated about 10 seconds later. He gets to my base, kills me one more time, and breaks my bed. I only get one more crack at this guy, but call me Dream 2.0 because I clutch up and get the job done. I send the classic GG message in the chat, but he doesn't respond. Since there are only 2 players left, I decide to buy a couple of fireballs in the shop and head to mid to gather emeralds. On the way there, I spot a white player also bridging to mid, so I throw a well-placed fireball that blasts him off the edge and quickly finish my bridge. As I gather emeralds and listen to CNN praise my efforts towards social justice, I realize that the other player had fallen into the void, so the only guy left is the one I just killed. As I walk back with the emeralds, I spot him lurking on the outside of his base, which makes me think that he has a fireball, so I throw another one in his direction to make him go back in his base while I run towards mine. Now, even though I'm pretty sure this guy is a complete noob, I still spend my entire stash of resources on gear to prepare for the fight. You see, I really need to get this dub here. I've been suffering from some personal traumas that, as a YouTuber, I am obligated to tell you all about even though you don't care. I have a life-threatening illness called Count Chocolitis, and if it isn't cured, nothing will happen because it's a made-up disease that I diagnosed myself with based on a Wikipedia article. Anyway, it seems as if our white friend has made his way over to our base, an action that results in a massacre similar to the one that occurred at Tiananmen Square, except this one actually happened. I decide that it's finally time to end the game, so I throw my bridge eggs over an already made bridge and head over to his base. Once I arrive, I sneak behind his strange-looking bed defense and quickly break the bed. If you're wondering how he didn't notice me casually stroll into his base, it's because I drank an invisibility potion. I suppose this wasn't a very fair tactic, but in the words of Tom Brady after he left his wife to play football, it was totally worth it. After dropping an iron golem to trap him in the base, I run to the top of the base to try and jump him from above. Somehow he gets out without the iron golem killing him, but he must have thought I was hiding in the bed defense, because that's where he looks first. Once the iron golem finds him, a battle that can only be narrated by this extremely intense music ensues. We're now on blue team, and after I build my bed defense, I decide to do the unthinkable and immediately rush the base next to me. I drop a bomb on his defenses and shred through his armor like Mexican food shreds through my stomach, then break his bed. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to break his bed while we were fighting, so he spawns back in. Luckily, I still have most of my health, so I'm able to take him out pretty easily. After winning my last game and starting this one off strong, I'm feeling more excited than Deshaun Watson at a massage parlor, but unfortunately another player comes over and quickly ends that feeling with an 11-game suspension and a stone sword. Upon respawning, I decide to upgrade my bed defense with endstone, but I don't have enough iron to buy more than 12 blocks, and I'm too lazy to break the wool, so I'm just going to have to hope that whoever comes to break my bed doesn't notice that an entire side of my bed defense is missing. I notice that nobody has bridged out to the diamond gen next to my base, so I collect the diamonds from there and buy sharpness, which should come in handy if I ever manage to land any shots on a half-decent opponent. Speaking of half-decent opponents, I spot Pink Team rushing the guy that killed me earlier, so I decide to take a shot at his bed while he's distracted. This ends about as poorly as Kanye's career, and I'm thrown into the void. I haven't had much success lately when it comes to combat, so I decide to avoid conflict for a while and bridge out to mid to collect emeralds. However, Green Team has the same idea, which forces us to fight it out. Unfortunately for him, he has pretty much no gear, so I proceed to tear through him like my fingers tear through the toilet paper in school bathrooms. Anyway, coming out to mid for emeralds ends up being a really good idea because I end up with a full set of 8 emeralds that I can use on obsidian, diamond armor, or potions. This set of items is pretty lucky in itself because I would have definitely used them on hoes if given the option. After the unfortunate mishap that I refuse to narrate, another untimely event occurs as Pink Team rushes my base. My minor fatigue trap gives me a chance to defend, but this guy is actually halfway competent at the game, so of course I lose and he breaks my bed. He has about as much health as Nikocado Avocado, so when I respawn I try to kill him, but he blows himself up on the bridge with a fireball. I know you guys can probably see an Arabic joke coming, but here on the Big Al channel we don't make jokes about Arabs as that would lead to explosive anger throughout the community. Anyway, we're now on our last life, so I decide to go all out to take out the base next to me. Unfortunately, this requires me to build a bridge, which I am apparently incapable of doing. The next game, we spawn on a Christmas-themed map that I actually think is really cool, a sentiment that I express in the chat. The generator gives iron really quickly on this map, so I decide to put endstone around my bed instead of wool. I don't really want to be aggressive right away, so I bridge over to the diamond gen to buy prot. Apparently Grey Team has the same idea, but I managed to beat him in round 1, and I say round 1 because immediately following this he runs over to my base to kill me and break my bed. This effort is a complete success, and once I respawn, he runs away from my base only to be killed by Green. I choose to follow him and suffer the same fate. We're back on Team Yellow, and I decide to take a more tactical approach to this round, and by tactical I mean the exact same strategy as before. I buy prot and bridge out to middle, only to discover that the buffoon on Green Team has bridged out to middle with no bed defense. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, you did the exact same thing, why is that guy a buffoon and you aren't? Anyway, I break the bed and kill a player that, judging by his name, is a YouTuber. However, judging by his skill level, he probably has less subs than I do, so feel free to go to his comments and let him know how trash he is. I notice that nobody has bridged to this guy's diamond gen yet, so I decide to capitalize on this and end up buying sharpness. I decide that it's time to make a move on Aqua, so I start bridging over to their base. Even though I take about 30 seconds to bridge over there, he takes even longer to notice, so I'm able to break his bed and stall him long enough to run and hide in his base. Unfortunately, I didn't think this plan all the way through, and he immediately runs straight to my base. However, another guy gets there first anyway, so even though I lose my bed, it's not entirely my fault. As I wait for diamonds to spawn so I can buy more prot, I watch blue team slowly make their way towards me. Given that I'm the only player without a bed, I'm not sure why he's taking the time to try and kill me, but I guess that level of intelligence is the reason he gets matched up with players like me. It's time for blue team to go, so I drink some magic milk and proceed to use about the most inefficient method possible to break his bed. I really need to figure out how to use the numbers on the keyboard to select items instead of the scroll wheel, because this is a little bit painful to watch. We've made our way over to pink base where the final bed is located. Blue team is also here and trapped on the roof. I chuck a couple of fireballs that have absolutely no effect whatsoever, but blue jumps off the roof and I run into the base while they fight. I drop a couple of iron golems to distract, and they actually manage to kill the guy, so I'm able to break the bed. All that's left is for the iron golems to trap him in the base, but like all minimum wage workers, they fail at their only task and then ask for a pay raise. It takes me a couple of minutes to track this guy down again, but once I do, he goes invis and we fight it out to determine who has to change their pronouns to was/were.